how to deal with anxiety. Generalized anxiety disorder affects 6.8 million adults, or 3.1% of the U.S. population. Women are twice as likely to be affected as men. The hard thing about anxiety disorder is that it is not like a disease that pops up and you get green boils all over your body and that's how you know you have it. Instead, it is more of a mental condition that can also lead to physical symptoms. Anxiety disorder is developed from a complex set of risk factors, including genetics, brain chemistry, personality, and life events. Stress is generally the main stem of anxiety or nervous disorders. However, there are things that we can do to help those with anxiety cope and things that help lessen the stress of the anxiety disorder. It is good to educate ourselves about anxiety and this disorder because unless you have actually experienced it yourself, it is very hard to relate to someone who is going through it. The first thing to remember is that anxiety cannot always be noticed from the outside. Anxiety is generally internal and is encompassed through the mind. Sure, some people develop certain tics when they get nervous or anxious, but they are still harder to identify unless you know about it personally. By being supportive of friends, family, or coworkers that you know struggle with anxiety also helps to lessen their anxiety as well. The second thing to remember is that there are ways to help keep your anxiety symptoms to a minimum. Staying healthy by exercising and by eating a well-balanced diet are both crucial. Foods high in vitamin B are also beneficial to keep your hormones balanced. When stressed, your body needs additional sleep to help cope as well, so be sure to get plenty of rest. Taking a time out just to relax, do yoga, paint, take a bubble bath are all great ways to try and relax and free your mind. I was diagnosed with anxiety disorders as well as panic attacks when I was 14 years old. It started in high school after I had become really stressed out with school and my grades. I did not understand what was going on at first or why I would have panic attacks. I just knew that the only way to get them to go away was to leave the classroom. I eventually had to start taking my classes from home and started homeschooling. After counseling, medications, and changing the way I live, I finally felt confident enough to go back to school and start college when I was 17. However, this past year I relapsed. I had panic attacks in Walmart, at school before I would take a test, and eventually even while driving at times. The fear of the attack happening again has kept me at home and makes me feel trapped. It is an awful feeling and one that many do not understand or have experienced. Your heart races and it increases. You can hear it beating outside of your chest. It feels like you have been struck with a shot of adrenaline and the room seems to spin and you feel dizzy. Your body shakes and it feels as though you will not be able to calm down. Nobody actually sees what you are feeling. Sometimes I don't understand why I would have them. It was like a fear that was in my subconscious and it would come out at the most inopportune times. Lastly, knowing what anxiety is all about helps you relate to people who go through it. In my experience, when teachers, friends, and co-workers did not understand, it made me more anxious and I felt very alone. By knowing what people are dealing with, it helps put them at ease. Even if you have never had anxiety or panic attacks, trying to understand helps you know what to do, as well if a family member, or you have to endure it. Learning to deal with anxiety is hard, but I've learned to deal with it as many people do. People with anxiety must take steps to combat their anxiety in order to overcome it. Eating a balanced diet, exercise, and taking time out to relax and enjoy life helps to get through it. Also, by learning about anxiety, you can help someone who deals with it to not feel like such an outsider by showing that you understand what they are going through.